Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Wednesday, December the 20th. Taken now from, still with the prophet Isaiah, we're kind of back and forth, Isaiah and Jeremiah. Isaiah chapter 7, the Lord spoke to Isaiah and said, "Go out to meet Ahaz and say to the king, ask a sign of the Lord your God, let it be as deep as Sheol or high as heaven." But Ahaz said, "I will not ask, and I will not put the Lord to the test." This is not humility. In this context, it could be humility, not with somebody not being before Isaiah. Isaiah had a reputation of being like the real deal. He's not saying this lightly. So this is false humility on Ahaz's part, perhaps because he didn't want to know. So this not putting the Lord to the test is a bunch of hooey. And then Isaiah validates this by saying, "Hear then, O Israel, is it too little for you to weary mortals that you weary my God? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign, since you won't ask for it." This doesn't happen very often. "A virgin shall conceive and bear a son." So again, we get this one more of many, actually, prophecies in the Old Testament pointing in the future, to the coming of the promised one. And this for us is a sign of hope. This is a perfect way for us to really prepare spiritually for Advent. This is why these readings in Advent are so beautiful, and it is important that we immerse ourselves, like put yourself right there when Isaiah is speaking to Ahaz and posing this question to him. Put the Lord to the test, ask a question, any question you want, as high as the heavens. Let it be as deep as Sheol or as high as heaven. Like, that does not say to too many people. And hear what Isaiah says, hear the promise, and pray for the faith that is necessary. In this case, it wasn't going to happen for hundreds of years, the complete fulfillment of this promise. But God was giving them signs, and he was blessing them in certain ways that would strengthen their faith along the way. You and I have been blessed. The reality, the fullness of this prophecy has been revealed to us in Jesus Christ. And still we have to pray for a strengthening of faith, right? Because we're between the first coming and the second coming of Christ. So we have to be prepared, just like the people of old. So it helps to enter into their sandals and aim ourselves in the direction of the second coming. In this case, not the first, but the second coming, which will be the definitive coming of the Lord. Over to the gospel. Dealt with Elizabeth yesterday, 6 months ago. Now we deal with the Blessed Mother. Okay, the angel came to her and said, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." And Mary was much perplexed by his words and pondered what sort of greeting this might be. Okay, so Mary, do not be afraid, for you have found favor with God, and now you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus. And we all know the rest of this encounter. Yesterday, it was an old woman who should not have conceived. She was married, though. In this case, it's a virgin, 14, she could conceive, but a virgin who is betrothed but has taken a vow of virginity, or as we would say in this case, celibacy. Why? Because she obviously had come to the awareness that God was asking this of her, a total dedication of her life to him. How do we know this? She wouldn't have asked the question of the angel that she asks. And she was not rebuked for asking the question. The question was answered by the angel, and angels don't mess around. They don't, coddle. They don't play favorites, as it were. That's not the way angels work. So she says, Mary said, "How can this be since I am a virgin?" Well, it's not as if Mary doesn't know the laws of nature, the so-called birds and the bees, right? The angel answers her question. "The Holy Spirit will come upon you. The power of the Most High will overshadow you." He doesn't say, "Come on, Mary, you know how you're going to get pregnant." It doesn't say that. So he knows that Mary has taken a vow of perpetual virginity, and that this will in no way contradict what God is asking of her. So she will be both virgin before, during, and after the birth of Jesus Christ. Hasn't happened before and will never happen again. And how do we know she is full of grace? Because perhaps you're familiar now with the word the angel used, kakaritomene. Basically, you who have been and remain filled with the divine favor, the Lord is with thee. You and I are not filled with grace. Maybe we're in the state of grace, but hopefully we are. in the state of grace, but we still struggle with our defects, right? With our proclivities, to our character faults, venial sins, mortal sins. But our hope really is in Mary. Just as Mary was filled with grace, you and I are also filled with grace in a different kind of way. So if she was faithful to that grace, and she was, you and I can be faithful to the grace that God gives us. And if we fail, then we need to turn to him again and again and again, asking him to help us begin again. Remember, God does not so much expect perfection, but he does expect that we never give up, that we keep trying, that we rely upon him more than we might be drawn into our own faults. So remember this in these days leading up to the great feast of Christmas. God bless you.